Good evening and welcome to Sim Racing Online. We're a little later than usual, but we are here. We are here and raring to go. It is the final round of the Formula 79 Championship. The championship has yet to be decided. And we are looking forward to some cracking action. We still have several drivers that are in the run for the championship, and I will run through those in just a second. I've gone through some of the maths so we can try and keep track. We have 60 minutes of racing ahead of us, and we're going to be going around the fast track of Zolder 1967, a very, very quick track. A very quick track, couple of elevation changes. But we are at what is the finale. Last 2 weeks ago we were at the Le Mans Spaghetti circuit, which was good fun. Long straights, not a lot of passing opportunities. A couple of front straight and back straight was the main place to pass. But if you haven't joined us before, you'll know that we are using the RSS Formula 79 mod, which is based on the Lotus 79, a car with ground effect, one of the first ground effect cars from that era, from the late 70s, early 80s. A very successful car, and led to a bit of a design change going forward in Formula 1. As I said, we are at Zolder 67 today, a 12-turn circuit. Doesn't have any chicanes like the modern version of Circuit Zolder. At the moment, Circuit Zolder holds the NASCAR Euro Series and the 24 Hours of Zolder. It did hold F1 between 1970 and 1980. Unfortunately, it was the location where we lost Gilles Villeneuve, and one of the major start line accidents. But since then, it has been good. It's a good circuit. I actually prefer this layout because of the lack of chicanes, and these cars should be well suited to it. We will take a trip on board with one of the drivers in due time. But if we look at the standings, it's a very close championship at the top. So Kirill Kirillov actually is leading the championship with 87 points, not far behind our last week's winner, Maddie Shepherd, with 80 points. And in third at the moment is Michael Mazurek. Lon's in fourth, wasn't present last week, so dropped a lot of points. So that wasn't too good. So we now have some maths to do. There's a lot of championship connotations there, but basically the main one is Kirillov has to finish ahead of all three of those drivers. So if Kirillov finishes ahead of Shepherd, Mazurek, and I believe Lons is probably counted out of the championship win because of not being present last time out. So if Kirillov finishes ahead of Shepherd and Mazurek, then he is champion. So if Mazurek, either Mazurek or Shepherd wins, then Kirillov has to be second. If they finish second, then Kirillov has to finish fourth or fifth. Shepherd Mazurek finishes third, then he needs to finish fifth or sixth respectively, or higher. Now Maddie Shepherd does have a chance of winning the championship. With that win last time out, she's put herself in the hunt, so she's not far behind. She can win the race and Kirillov is second, but doesn't get poled or fastest lap, because there is a bonus point for a pole and fastest lap, which is going to make things extra complicated to keep up with all of this, but we will try and keep on top of that. If Kirillov finishes third, Maddie Shepherd needs to finish first. And if Kirillov finishes fourth, Shepherd needs to finish second with the fastest lap and pole at bare minimum. Michael Masaryk can actually win the championship, but it's a lot less likely if he wins the race and Shepherd finishes second and Kirillov finishes third. So that's perfectly possible. Masaryk has been pretty fast at some of the rounds this season. If he finishes second, Shepherd finishes third or lower, and Kirillov finishes sixth or lower. Now, Kirillov hasn't finished that low down. Looking at his last results, he has had 2 wins this season. He's had a third this season. But his lowest scoring round was round 1, which was a 6th place. So bear that in mind. And then we have, if he finishes third, Shepherd has to finish 4th, but doesn't get pole on fastest lap, and Kirillov finishes 8th and doesn't get pole on fastest lap. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I will be changing the points as I go, nearing the end, so it will give me a good idea of who is going to finish where, championship-wise, and we have 60 minutes of racing. So that should be all well and good. So, if we head to the track, we'll try and head to the track so we can see the drivers. Because they're already out on their practice laps. Let's make sure that we are looking at the right source. Bear with me 1 second. We have had problems with the streaming stuff this afternoon, so it's been a bit of a pain to try and keep it going. I believe there is problems with the YouTube streaming at the moment. So let's try a different way. That's the fella. That is what we want to see. So, out on track at the moment, we have 9 drivers out on circuit. We are maybe expecting about 10. But this is what we've got for now. Let's have a look at the times we're doing. 1:14.353 is the fastest time on the circuit. Let's have a look through our drivers. So Mitchell Kokotsky, we join him just as he has a little bit of a spin. One of our newer drivers, I believe he was here for the 4th round, but unfortunately he wasn't with us for the 5th. So we might as well go in reverse championship order if we can. Looking down the list to see who we do have and who we don't. John van der Geest, our series host, currently 9th place at the moment. It looks like most of these corners with this car with ground effect are very held in a very high gear as we go through turn 2. There's a section, a bit of a dip, flat out up here. A good turn. And across what is the It looked like the finish line, but the track, I think the track map might be out of sync there. But he's not where I thought he was. So very fast section coming down the hill here into what will be the slowest section of the track. So a slight left coming up here and a very tight turn, tight right hand turn coming up here. That's it, and slight S bend, it's not really a bend, we go straight across. And then this chicane can be taken in 5th gear. Very, very quick. The modern version of the track is not like that at all. So here's your championship leader, this is Kirill Kirilov. In the red and white livery. Let's take a trip on board with Kirill Kirilov as he comes through the final chicane. Doesn't look like a hint of a lift. And down into turn 1, down 2 gears to 3rd. Slightly banked, bit of a bump on the outside. Double apex right-hander. Down the hill into the dip and then up again to the right-hander. Got to be careful with the curves, they look a bit higher than, I mean this is a historic track so that you are probably a bit higher than what people are used to. Up over the crest, completely flat. And down to 3rd gear for the double right-hander. Slightly wide on the exit over the little crest. And down to the slowest part of the circuit. Slightly luck up on the inside there. And through what is a non-chicane. I don't even know why that's there, to be honest. And then flat out for what is the last chicane on the circuit. So, plenty of fast corners. Plenty of fast corners for the drivers to try and find a way by. Lots of driving opportunities. There's been some circuits where you perhaps would have had to take a lower wing to have any chance of passing on the straight. This track, you may need the downforce to be able to hold it for yourself. So this is Tony Talviti. Currently 5th in the championship. He was 2nd last time out. Had a good run at Le Mans. Going slightly wide there though. And 3rd in the championship, Michael Masaryk in the yellow car. Coming down to the final sector of the lap. Unfortunately the camera is behind the fence there. It doesn't help us to coming up across the line, and he goes provisional pole for practice. That's a 1:13.7. That's a stunning lap. Michael Masaryk. And Michael Masaryk currently 3rd in the championship. His lowest finished has been round 1, which was a 5th. He's finished 5th, 4th, and had 3 second places. So on form. It's just that Kirilov has been just that bit quicker. Managed to get a couple of wins. Now, as I say, there are points for pole and points for fastest lap, so we'll have to note that down because that's going to be very, very important. So our other championship contender, Maddie Shepherd in the JPS Lotus paint job. Now Maddie Shepherd has 2 wins. The last 2 races have actually been 2 wins. And the first round was a 2nd place. But unfortunately in rounds 2 and 3 she dropped quite a number of points, finishing way down the order in 6th and I believe that round 3 was 10th. So just imagine if she had finished on the podium in those 2 rounds. I don't know if the cars are getting air over that crest there, but I didn't see Kirillov take his foot off the gas. So currently Vazovich setting the pace in practice. 113.7 with Kirillov not far behind at 114.0. Phil Brown is up to 3rd. Now Phil Brown has taken part in 4 rounds this season. He had a good drive in the first round, and he is in the Martini Lotus livery. Unfortunately, he hasn't had that great of a time in the remaining rounds. So 3rd in round 1, but since then he's struggled to get on the podium. That is Phil Brown. Who else do we have? We have Paul Upham. Paul Upham. It's going to get a little bit confusing because Paul Upham is in very similar livery to Kirillov, our championship leader. So let's try and not get those mixed up. Unfortunately, Paul Upham has managed to sometimes get caught up in lap 1 incidents or making mistakes, and is currently way down in 10th place in the championship. Marius Labioda, again another one of our drivers way down the order, currently in 9th place in the championship. And a very striking yellow and blue livery, so when you see Marius out on track, you will definitely recognise who they are. I believe that is all of our drivers that we have joined up right now. So VT, a very blue and white livery to match the Finnish flag. Driver from Finland, very, very quick, but unfortunately cannot take part in every single round because of work-related schedule. But we're happy to have Tony. Hopefully he can be in the mix. Maybe he will be a spoiler for this championship showdown. Just seeing Kirillov has gone to the top of the timesheets, 113.6. So the top 3 are covered by 0.2 of a second, as we would have expected it. So should be a good race. Everyone keeps it clean. We don't want to make it complicated by having to have any question about who is champion. As Mandy Shepherd heads to the pits. Looks like we are just about to roll over to qualification. We've only got a couple of minutes left. So, as a refresher, we are in the final round of the Formula 79 Championship. It is the RSS Formula 79. And there will be 15 minutes of qualification. And the race will be 60 minutes long. There is no mandatory pit stop, but we have had drivers do at least one around half distance. There was one round where there were some drivers that tried not stopping at all, but I'm not sure that was that wasn't the strategy. It didn't work out as being a fast strategy. So yeah, there's been a couple of tracks where unfortunately we've had some pit stop problems, but hopefully not at this track. And it does look like the pit entry is quite easy to get into. There's no like chicanes to get into the pits. It's just a straight shot straight into the pits and straight out. So pit stops are going to be very, very quick. Should be stationary for maybe 10-15 seconds. So we have 10 drivers. 10 drivers that are about to do battle for 15 minutes of quali. I've been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks. I've been trying to go through all the maths equations for who's going to win and what they need to do. It can be very complicated, but we are about to go to quali. Let's see who is out of the pits first. I believe it is Kirillov that's out of the pits first. Wants to get a clean lap in, as does everybody. Let's make this a tiny bit bigger so we can full screen. There we go. So Kirillov. Looks like that may have been lag there. We have lost Kirillov from the server for now. That does not bode well, because he does have to finish to be able to take the championship today. And Kirillov reappears, so it looks like there might be some lag going on. And that might have caught Masaryk out because he spins into the pit wall. Look at Yoda just coming around into the circuit. On his outlet. So no big representative times on the board as yet. Shepherd coming up what is a short back straight. So these short straights may provide some opportunity to pass. I believe that here might be a good opportunity to pass. And it's this crest. It doesn't look like the car gets air. There's enough downforce on the car to keep it squashed to the ground. And this fast right-hander. Whether other drivers will be able to stay under the rear wing to be able to slingshot down to the slowest corner on the track. Down to second gear. Through this no chicane. And up to the final left-right, which is completely flat out. And across the line. And a 1:13.7, so well on the pace from practice. And Kirillov not far behind with a 1:13.8. And third with a 1:13.14.8. So Masaryk currently on another outlap, hopefully he can put in a good time. He needs to stay in the top three, of course. It would be good if he can win. I don't think there were any penalties from the last round. Unfortunately, the championship contenders did actually come together. But this looks like one final round to take the cup, as it were. Up this flat out section. I'm not sure who is for. That's probably, let's see, a red car in practice. That may be Pichler then. Unfortunately, is he going to slow him down, or is he going to be able to give him draft? He needs to be able to put a banker in. There's only 10 minutes left up the inside. Let's dispatch as quickly as possible. So here's Pichler. It wasn't Pichler that I was looking at. Pichler is in the, what I think is the wolf livery. But it has a lion on the front. Not entirely sure that the Masaryk pops up to fourth place with a 1:13.3, so being stuck behind that red car in the background. which is Mitchell Kokotsky. He has some pace to find, currently in 10th. New to the series. Head on to Phil Brown. Phil Brown is just coming over the line, 0.1 away from 4th place. In fact, he pops into 4th place, just beating Masaryk by a 10th of a second, and promptly goes off the track with 9 minutes to go. He does have to make it back to the pits, so we're putting every effort into going across the line, and forgot there was a turn coming up. So Kirillov currently leads 1:13.2. Tony Talviti is now in second with a 1:13.7. So Kirillov is safe by a little margin. Shepard is in third with a 1:13.7, not far off second. Phil Brown is in fourth with a 1:14.2. And Masaryk in 5th with a 1:14.3. So John Brandig is currently coming through the final sector of the lap, 7th place with a 1:18. So it looks like he hasn't quite got a clean lap in just yet. He should improve his time, but not his position. He stays in 7th place. Upham just coming over the line with a 6th place. That's him just coming out the pits, I believe, on an out lap. So 1:15.5. So quite a big spread of times, but still close up front between the top 5, all within about 1 second. Talviti this fast section of the racetrack. Slowest corner on the track. And up to what is the final chicane. I'm going to have to try and pronounce some of these corner names. It's not my chosen language. But, so down into turn 1, the Erst turn. Slight bit of oversteer, avoiding that car's off on the left-hand side. Double apex, and a little bit a slight oversteer coming through the Starenwak Bocht and the Kanzai Bocht up to Lucian Bianchi Bocht. And this flat out section, I can foresee a lot of passing up in this section here. Absolutely flat out through Sacrament Shelling and the Boot, and then this double right-hander of Parliament Bocht, and up to the slowest corner on the track, which is Boulderberg Bocht. I'm not even going to try and pronounce these during the race. A bit of a mouthful. And we come through the final chicane. Absolutely flat out and across the line. And he stays in 2nd place. So it's still Kirillov that leads the provisional pole. 1:13.2. Talviti not far behind 1:13.7. Shepard not far behind that. 1:13.7 also. 200ths of a second behind 2nd place. She would do well to be on the front row so she can attack Kirillov into the first turn. And it just depends whether Kirillov is going to try and pace himself with the 60 minutes, or is he going to try and win to take it completely out of Shepard's and Mazurik's hands? The final chicane. Will this be an improvement up to the front row? In fact, it is not. Maybe that was a warm-up. And she's going again, so we will keep an eye on Maddie Shepard. Masaryk just coming into the pits. Pichler just taking to the grass to let Upham through, who's actually on an out lap, so he's coming through to the final section of the lap. So currently on a 1:15.5. He's not far off 7th place. Kokotsky has knocked himself up to 7th place, just ahead, and he's coming into a pits. Maybe he thinks that he doesn't need, or doesn't think he can improve. So Pichler needs to find 0.8 of a second to get up to 8th place. Now, I did read on the discussion forums there was some debate about, as I think always there's debate about whether drivers take low downforce or high downforce setups. It's kind of a balance. I believe there is some fuel mixture settings that drivers can change during the race, which can obviously affect fuel strategy and such. So Masaryk currently 3rd in the championship, but 4th on the provisional grid. Does have at least, if you can find 0.2 of a second, he'll be on the front row. So can Masaryk push that extra bit further? Down to the slowest corner on the track. Down to 2nd gear. Up through this slight kink left and right. And up to the flat out section. So whether or not drivers will be able to follow each other through that final chicane and maybe draft each other up on a main straight, I will. Yeah, very interested to see whether they can follow that close behind. We have seen in the past that aero wash can be a bit vicious. So 0.2 of a second. That's all he needs to find. Just over 2 minutes to go. We'll keep an eye on his times. Back to Pichler is now up to speed. And coming through what is the final section of the lap, up towards the right-handed turn. Boulder Bock. So no sign of a lift coming through that chicane there. Up to turn 1. So 2nd and 3rd are in the pits. Maybe they have a slight wheel on the curb there. Double apex right. It's very difficult to judge. Down the hill and then up this section. This corner seems to feel like it's off camber. And then just completely flat out from that right-hander up over the hill and under bridge. Not a hint of a lift. Now pick your braking point down into this right-hander. Slightly wide of the apex. Keeping up his speed. Some time to find on Paul Lapham in front. Slight lock up of the tyres and probably a little bit wide of the curb on the what looks like a hairpin bend. The left and the right. Is there any improvement? There is. but unfortunately it doesn't change his position, but he did find a lot of extra time. He's now like 15.8, so 5 seconds to go. It looks like that might be our grid. The only person that maybe can improve is Masaryk. I don't think that Masaryk is going to improve. Goes back to the pits. Kotsky only has to find 1/10 of a second to get up to 6th. He'll be striking a red livery. So just coming through the final section of the track. Let's clip the curb on the inside there. 15.1. Can he improve up to 6th place in the dying seconds? In fact, up to a 6th place. Just beating Marius Labioda. And the final car on the track is Philip Pichler. So he's to find half a second to get up to 8th place. Making the most of as much track time as he can. So it sounded like he's gone down to 3rd, so he's given up on that lap. Right, I believe that is the grid. So Kirill Kirilov, championship leader, grabs pole. Talviti 2nd, Shepard is 3rd, Masaryk in 4th, Brown 5th, Kokotsky in 6th, Labioda in 7th, Upham in 8th, Pichler in 9th, and Van der Geest rounding out the top 10. So 60 minutes of racing. We are set for a championship slowdown. Not a slowdown, completely the wrong word to use. A championship showdown. So I'm going to be trying to keep an eye on the points as we go through. I think races have normally started with a flurry of action, and they've petered off in the centre of the race, and then they've picked up right at the end. The pit stops usually do spice things up a little, but we will see what happens. So we're just going through the admin, just giving the final briefing, and we're just waiting for the final countdown for the race. So it was close up front between the top 5, all within 1 second, and then 6th down to 10th, all within about 2 or 3. So a very, very fast circuit. Will tyre wear come into play because of these fast corners? There's only one really big stopping point, which is a 2nd gear corner near the end of the lap. So can Talviti play a spoiler here? He's the only driver in the top 4 that is not in the hunt for the championship. So can he play spoiler? It does look like we don't have our custom camera to use. Which is a shame. Going to green, and away they go. Up to turn 1. Who's going to get to turn 1 first? It is Kirillov on the inside. Tony Talviti around the outside. There's a yellow flag somewhere. I don't know who that is from. Maddie Shepard has been able to exit turn 1 and 2. in second place, doing exactly what she needs, and chases after Kirilov on the first lap. Making her move early on, and I did say there would be passing opportunities on this first lap, or in this section of the track. Masaryk is not far behind, so taking her chance when she can, whilst the tyres are in relatively good condition. She's got to watch in her mirrors. You can probably see that yellow car is stalking away. So the top three in the championship goes down the inside, but unfortunately locks it up completely and needs to do that one again. Drop down the order, and I believe it's a bit of coming together with Phil Brown. I'm not sure where Phil Brown went. He went exit stage left. Now Pichler feels like he has a chance in fourth to pass the recovering Shepherd. So not ideal. And I believe those tyres are probably not feeling too great from that lockup coming into the final corner. So Kirilov now leading, and Masaryk is now in second. Masaryk has some work to do. He ideally needs to finish in front of Kirilov. Unfortunately, from second on the grid, Tony Talviti has dropped back to fifth place. Maybe he got lost out a little bit in the shuffle of turn one. So he's staying with the pack. Looks like he is gaining a little on Pichler in front. Going a little bit wide. Coming out of that corner and going a little bit wide again. It does look like he has the pace. So coming down to the slowest corner of the track. Look up in front, giving Talviti an opportunity. So this is where I suspected that drafting might happen. One of the fastest points in the track where the cars can follow through this fast section here. That Shepherd coming into the pits, that might be a self-enforced penalty. I don't know whether if it was a jump start. I know that Shepherd has fell foul of a jump start. Tony was caught out a little by Pichler's braking point in that second bar, the right-hander, but he's now through to third place. The chase is now on to grab the top two, who are not far apart from each other, only 1.7 seconds. So the two championship contenders at the moment, Kirilov and Masaryk, between 2 seconds of each other. So a big flurry of action, as unfortunately we see Masaryk clips a bit of that high curb, keeps it all together, and managed to stay in second. But that would have been disastrous for his championship. But at the moment, Kirilov leads and would win the championship, but we will come to that a bit later on. Side by side, Kokotsky and Labioda coming through that, what is a slight chicane. Following closely through this, as I think Labioda got it all wrong, understeered into the pit wall. It looks like we may have lost one drive already. John van der Geest has disconnected. I don't know whether that was technical problems. Did Labioda get going again? It doesn't look like there's any damage. But that was looked like the car just got away with it, away from him in the final turn. Chases after Phil Brown. Unfortunately, I think he had a little bit of coming together with Shepherd, and I think Shepherd maybe paid a penance by pitting. Because there is a rule in this league that if you punt a driver, whether it be accidental, hopefully it wouldn't be anything on purpose, but you take a self-imposed penalty of a drive-through. So Kirilov now, after Masaryk's accident, has now got a lead of 6 seconds over Masaryk. So Masaryk needs to find some pace, and see just hunting in the background, Tauviti could be the spoiler, but as it stands, Mazurek wouldn't be able to take the championship. Although he would possibly move up to second, unless Shepard has anything to say about it. Tauviti chasing hard with his flat-out section. Obviously mark off that Kirillov does have a bonus point for getting pole position, so that's one extra bonus point. The bonus point will be for fastest lap. We may be able to find out that today. It may be important. So coming through the fast last section of the lap, just 0.9 between Tauviti and Mazurek. Keeping an eye on that battle, or the gap rather, to the lead. Looks like Pichler is pitting. So that might be an unscheduled pit stop. I'm not sure whether he is pitting for, maybe for repair. Shepard now recovering back up to 5th after that, we believe, was maybe a drive-through. Chasing Kokotsky in 4th. So a little bit of a scrappy start by some of these drivers. I don't know whether they may have got caught out by some of the different braking points. So Kokotsky gonna have a very quick JPS Lotus on his tail very, very soon. So just 0.8 of a second. You see Tauviti again shadowing Mazurek up front. Tauviti would like another podium finish to add to his tally this season. He only has one. Sometimes been very, very quick, but he's fallen foul of mistakes and work schedule. So 1:14.5 is the pace. Very, very quick. We're going back to Shepard, right under the rear wing of Kokotsky, coming up to the one of the fastest sections of the track. Kokotsky goes defensive, but I think the speed, the draft, side by side up this flat out section. Very, very, very quick. And back up to 4th place. We drop back to Tauviti now, right under the rear wing. This is probably enough for draft in this section. So Tauviti is able to stick with. Mazurek is going defensive. He wants to keep this second place. Now, meanwhile, while this battle is going on, Kirillov is getting away. Now the lead is now 6 to 7 seconds. But while these two battle, you can possibly see in the background that Shepard will be catching these two. So we're just 10 minutes gone. It's Kirillov that leads. Mazurek second. And Tauviti fancies a chance up in this part of the course. Mazurek went a little bit wide. Keeping it tight up to this is the second gear corner. Tauviti keeps it very tight to the apex. And within 0.3 of a second, going through this fast section. Again, I think Mazurek is going to always defend up to turn 1. He feels he doesn't need to this time. Takes the wider line. keeping an eye on the gap back to 4th place, which is around 7 seconds. So that may diminish. So we'll drop back a little, over half a second. Not quite going to be in the draft up in that section of the course. So not quite close enough to have a go. So it might take a mistake from Masaryk in order to give Tauviti a chance. So Kirilov, nearing the end of the lap, is in first. Maybe a slight mistake, because the gap maybe dropped a second or so. Masaryk shadowed by Tauviti in second. Putting out 0.7, but at the end of the lap, Tauviti is not quite close enough to make a challenge. Shepard just coming across the line. Gap now down to about 5 seconds, so that gap is closing. Last time out, Shepard was at 1:14.4. If we look at the drivers ahead, a 1:15.1, so closing over half a second a lap. So Paul Upham and Phil Brown are arguing over 7th and 6th place. Maybe that might be Des Pichler who has got past Paul. Does Paul have anything in store up to turn 1? Pichler not finding the need to go defensive. Paul Upham, he locked the tyres out a little bit by braking. This is where Pichler is a little bit slow in this first part of the course, or first part of turn 2. And that might have caught Paul out a little. So up to the one of the fastest places on the course. Unfortunately, Paul overdoes it and spins out of 8th place, lighting up those rear tyres. Unfortunately, he is the last on the course. I believe he may have called it a day. So, Kirilov still leads. Masaryk has pulled out a gap on Tauviti, so the chase begins to maybe get up to 1st place. He definitely needs 1st place in order to have any chance of taking this championship. Tauviti dropping a little bit back by 1.5 seconds in 3rd. And Shepard not that far behind in 4th. Early on, Kukotsky did put up a little bit of a fight for 4th place, but unfortunately wasn't able to hang on to the pace of Shepard. Last lap time 1:16.5. Just looking at Kukotsky's last finish. Last time out in round 4 was 7th place, so this will be a 2-place improvement. And Phil Brown fighting back. Definitely faster than that car ahead, but he's got 4 or 5 seconds to get onto the back of Kukotsky. So currently 6th place. And then Pichler, fortunately, has dropped way back off the rear of the field. It's going to be a very lonely race for Pichler. You never know what might happen. There's 45 minutes of the race to go, so you never know what might happen. So the gap to Tauviti shrunk to about 4 seconds. You can just hear Tauviti accelerating out of this. You can see the car just ahead. So there's a target to chase, there's a carrot to chase, which I always find is a bit easier than just chasing a lap time. So the chase is on for now second place. It does look like Tony Talviti may have made a mistake. Is now back to fourth place, so Shepherd is now up to third. And missed that one. Kirilov still leads by 8 seconds. Lap time of 1:14.6, so putting it in a scintillating pace. He wants to win this from the front. So a reminder that the top 3 it will be 40 points for a win. Well, no, 25 points for a win. I'm getting mixed up with my points tallies. Different series have different points totals. So 25 for a win, 18 for second, and 15 for third. So as it stands at the moment, Kirilov would win the championship. But Michael Masaryk would possibly go to second place. I'm thinking about points in the background. I'm thinking about who needs to get the fastest lap, because that extra point might be vital. Because at this point in time, Masaryk sits on at 96 points, and Shepherd sits on at 95 points. If Shepherd manages to get fastest lap, which is an extra bonus point, that means they will be level on points. But because Shepherd has 2 wins, she would grab second place in the championship on countback. So there is that. So Tony Talviti in a big slide in fourth place. Those tyres are not quite agreeing with him with 15 minutes gone. So coming up to the end of the lap. Down section. Right, do we have a battle on between Kokotsky and Phil Brown? Phil Brown has caught up, and he is shadowing just 1 second behind. So I did say that Phil Brown was putting in some fast lap times. So in the 1:15 range. So this may just be a matter of time. So we'll see whether coming into one of the fastest sections of the course, is there a difference in downforce levels? And this is where Shepherd passed Kokotsky before. So keeping it tight to the apex. That's exactly what Upham did. Got on the loud pedal too early and nearly around it went. So that's lost all the momentum coming up to this fastest section of the course. So not quite close enough to be able to challenge for 5th place. Phil Brown currently 6th in the championship with 34 points. I'm not sure he can actually outscore Tony Talviti in 5th. But still, a good finish is a good finish. So I'm coming through this final section of the lap. Up to this flat out section. So it looks like we probably need medium downforce to have any hope of staying with the car in front through the faster sections. Brown got a little bit caught out with the braking there. Now, don't get on the loud pedal too early this time. Can he stay under the rear wing? He does, he keeps it all together coming up to this fastest section of the course. 0.5 seconds. Over the crest. And down through the fast section. It's normally a chicane here in the modern version of the track. And now it is just 2 right-hand bends. And up towards the second gear right-hander. At the end of the lap. Puts in a slight mistake, which is going to ruin his momentum up to the final corner of the track. Again, if Phil Brown can stay under the rear wing. So he's able to stay within half a second. It may take a mistake from Kukotsky. No mistake just yet. So right under the rear wing. Running into the back of him coming through turn 2. Lost all momentum up to this vital section up here, what could be considered turn 3. Kukotsky goes over to the right hand side quite early to break the draft and get a wide entry to this left-hander. So while these two battle, he is dropping them back from the cars ahead. So looking at Phil Brown, his best finish this season has been a 3rd place. So 4th place would be a good finish. Kukotsky looks like he's doing enough in the right places of the track, and Phil Brown's just not quite able to stay with. And that looks like that might be Phil Brown pitting. Might that be an early pit stop to for an undercut? So to get out from the rear wing, he knows he can go faster. So a very, very short pit stop, but a very early pit stop. Could this be the start of a 2-stop strategy, or is this just a very early pit stop to get out from under the rear wing? We will have to keep an eye on 5th and 6th. So back to the front with 37 minutes to go. It is Kirillov that still leads. No hint of a pit stop. Doesn't need a pit stop. As it coming over the line in 2nd place. The gap has stayed quite stable at about 5 or 6 seconds. At least. 14.4, so it's still not really hanging around. It's still a really fast pace. Still, Kirillov seems to have that edge. And 2nd place in the championship, Shepard is probably ruining that mistake early on. She was in 2nd place, but unfortunately got caught up in that early melee. She can see that yellow car ahead. It's getting closer, within 3 seconds. But they are trading sectors, low 114s. After what was apparently a mistake, I think Talbiti dropped back to 4th place. We did see that the tyres were getting a little squirrely. Slight bit of oversteer coming out of some of these corners, so maybe he was overheating the tyres. But he has now dropped back 10 seconds from Shepard in 3rd. And Kukotsky, now he hasn't got someone breathing down his neck. He'll be breathing a bit easier. But is he vulnerable of the undercut from Phil Brown? So Kukotsky putting in lap times of 1:16.6. Let's see, Phil Brown coming to the end of the lap. So his out lap, just looking at that time, so it took about 20 seconds in total. Maybe a bit more to come into the pits. So let's see what kind of time that Phil Brown has put in after the pit stop. So 1:16, so not quite got his tyres up to temperature. He was in the 15s earlier, but it's still quicker than the car ahead. So we'll have to keep an eye. So Philip Pichler in 7th place. He's about to be lapped by Kirillov. So lets him through at turn 2. That's good driving. Now Phil Brown has pitted. He's only 20 seconds behind Phil Brown. Phil Brown is a pit stop ahead. So Kirilov still leads by 5 seconds, so not too far behind. Coming through this far double right-hander. Keep it clear of those curbs. Lock up coming into slow second gear right-hander. If we look back to Masaryk, you can probably see just coming into view. You can hear Masaryk pitting with 33 minutes to go. Right, is the undercut going to be effective between Shepherd and Masaryk? It was 3 seconds between them when Masaryk came in, so we're going to need to keep an eye on Shepherd. Does Shepherd cover that off the next lap? Or does she continue? Still putting in lap times of 1:14.4. So not slowing down by any means. Still in the hunt for the championship. Although it's a little harder now. Tommy Talviti now up to third, now that Masaryk has pitted. Keeping an eye on pit lane to see who comes in the pits. It does look like Talviti's tyres are beyond his best. That seems to be a corner which he struggles to get the power down. Still no one deciding to pit just yet. Shepherd is past the pits, so no instant reaction to Masaryk's pit stop. And Shepherd is coming up to push lap in the 7th. So Masaryk has now passed Talviti. Talviti pits. He's now out again. He doesn't lose a position to Kukotsky behind because Kukotsky is in the pits. So, did the undercut work? And there goes Phil Brown. Indeed it did. Phil Brown is now up to 5th place. So the fast laps from Phil Brown have done wonders and he's now through to 5th place. It does look like a big gap now. So I wonder whether a mistake on that inlet from Kukotsky has led to a now 15-second gap. And it was only about 3. So different strategies, different possible fuel lows perhaps. As Kukotsky now has the championship leader breathing down his neck. As Shepherd now pits. And out in front of Masaryk. So the undercut did not work. Shepherd was able to go an extra 2 laps, put in some fast laps. And was able to overcut Masaryk. So she now sits in 2nd place. Masaryk is not far behind. So we are now at half distance. I believe we have seen most of the front runners take to the pit lane. Kirilov still has yet to do his stop. And in fact he heads into pit lane right now. I'm keeping an eye on the track map. Second and third head through what could be classed as one of the final corners. Kirilov is already moving. we'll see what kind of deficit it is when they cross the line. 10 seconds. So these two have basically got to work together. So just under 10 seconds. So as soon as they start battling, Kirilov can just disappear into the distance. So 30 minutes to go to catch their nearest rival. Now, do they work together? Or is it every person for themselves? We'll have to see. So if they do work together to overhaul Kirilov, maybe they can fight it out in the end. They're definitely not in the same team, so there is no kind of team orders. Things have just got intriguing. So a couple of interesting strategies gone on here. Phil Brown was able to come into the pits early, get out from under the rear wing of Kukutsky, and was able to pass when Kukutsky made their pit stop. And then Masaryk came into the pits early. Shepard stayed out 2 more laps and was able to overcut when she came into the pits. So 115.3, so these tyres are taking a little while to warm up. The leader's pace is in the 114s. So we go back to Kirilov. See in the background, not too far away. So now, does Kirilov pace himself to the end? He doesn't need to win to take the championship. He could actually finish just behind. In fact, that is not Maddie Shepard. I believe that is Pichler that's just coming into view. So they're not as close as I thought they are. So Kirilov coming to the final turn. Shepard and Masaryk just coming towards that final turn as well. So 8 seconds. 8 seconds to try and find. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. It looks like Masaryk is suffering a little from understeer. Not quite getting the 114s yet. Looks like Shepard has got her tyres up to temperature a bit quicker. And is pulling away. So Shepard now down to 114.5. Pichler pulling to the inside to stay out the way of second place. That's a perfect place to catch a lap car. One of the fastest parts of the circuit. Let's see if Masaryk can do the same. Actually, Masaryk catches Pichler at the slower part of the circuit. Get by into turn 1. Quite close enough. Coming up to the one of the fastest parts of the circuit, so under the rear wing we go. Has decided that pulling off might be an easier idea. And third place. So that lost Masaryk about a second, but he was struggling for lap time. He is now down to the 114s. Shepard 114.5. Very, very quick. 24 minutes to go. Now after Kirilov's pit stop, he's now putting in 114.4. So trading sectors is very, very close. this means that we will need to adjust our provisional points. So it would mean that Kirillov would still have 25 points. Shepard would have 18 points, and Masaryk would have 15 points. So this would actually solidify the current order in the championship. So Kirillov, Shepard, and Masaryk would remain in those positions. Unfortunately, Lons is 4th in the championship. I don't think he's actually in any worry of losing 4th in the championship, because Tony Talviti is a little bit far behind. So Tony currently in 4th would only get 12 points. So yeah, in fact, Lons would actually keep 4th place in the championship. Talviti just solidifies his 5th. So not much has changed out the top, unless something dramatic happens. Paul Brown still in a very solid 5th after overtaking Kukotsky through the pit stops, slightly wide, coming up to one of the fastest parts of the circuit. That'll get your attention. 1:15.8. Currently the pace. Kukotsky is struggling to keep up with that pace in the 1:17s. So a little bit of a gap. But sixth, as I said, 6th place for Kukotsky. That is looking at the championship table. This would be his best finish. This is his 2nd race in the series. And then we have Philip Pichler. Not actually sure why we saw Pichler drop all this way back. Maybe he did get caught up in one of the accidents in the first few laps, but he is well down the order and already been lapped. So with 22 minutes to go, Kirillov leads. Shepard 2nd by 8 seconds. Masaryk 3rd, and dropped off 4 seconds. Talviti in 4th, or Masaryk in 3rd, right? Yes. Talviti in 4th. Brown in 5th. Kukotsky in 6th, and Pichler in 7th. So whilst we watch Kirillov putting in more fast times, I should tell you what's upcoming with Sim Racing Online. Plenty of things going on. Now, Sim Racing Online does run championships in R-Factor 2, Assetto Corsa, ACC, so Assetto Corsa Competizione. It runs series in Automobilista 2. And currently the new series that's running is Le Mans Ultimate. So head to simracingonline.co.uk and get involved. So the next things we've got coming up are, so on Sunday, June the 15th, we have, I believe it's either the 5th round or the 6th round, I can't remember. It might be the final round. It is the final round. We have the final round of the Enduracers P2 and GTE Championship. So the final round will take place at Suzuka. That will be broadcast on this channel. So look forward to that. P2s and GTEs around Suzuka. That is going to be very, very tight. So on the Saturday, June the 21st, it will be the Le Mans Ultimate GTE Master Class. So that's on Saturday, June the 21st. And then we have, on June the 22nd, it's actually a race that me personally I will be taking part in, which is the Formula Renault 1975 Championship. I believe it's the 4th round, so Sunday, June the 22nd. And then June the 24th will be a Project Cars Ferrari 488 Challenge. And June the 26th will be the first round of a new series, which is the historic GT 1970s Championship. That looks like fun. So Thursday, June the 26th. And then a special event happening on June the 29th, which is was that Pichler just unfortunately having a little bit of an off there, it was. And he will be heading into the pits, I think. I just caught the end of that. It was because I said special event, wasn't it? So the World Sports Car 1964 special event on June the 29th. So I believe that will be an endurance type event. So is it Pichler heading in for damage repair? And out he goes. Maybe that was for a pit stop scheduled. So Kirilov continues to lap cars up to 6th place. 8-second lead. So June 29th, Le Mans 67 World Sports Cars with the 1964 cars. And then a new series on July the 13th, which is the F1 1984 series. We have about 19 drivers currently signed up to that. So head onto the forums, pick your car. It's going to be running 1984 cars in R Factor 2. And should be very interesting because it's taking place on historic tracks that they would run around 1984. So places like Dijon, Monza, Hockenheim. And then last on the list is an under R Factor 2 special event, which is on August the 2nd. Special event, the Indy 250. So we're going back to the Brickyard, the Oval. A special event will be broadcast. We're looking to have 20 drivers. Pichler is coming back in the pits. I don't know whether maybe he sped in the pits, so he's coming back in. But, so Mehdi Shepherd still putting in 14.4 or 14.2. Maybe one of the faster laps, but still not able to make that gap for first place to go down at all. So you see there's lots going on at Sim Racing Online. This is one of them. 16 minutes to go. We're rounding out the Formula 79 series with a bang rather than a whimper. It has been action from the start. Different pit stop strategies have led to some passing in the pits. It's been very difficult to pass at some points, but the race has settled down a little. And Mazurek coming through what is the final sector of the lap up to the very slow right-hander, second gear. Chicane. So as I said, this is the championship decider. Kirilov will win the championship if it stays like it is. He's just got to keep it together. So Kirilov just needs to keep it smooth. He doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. Still in the 114s. He hasn't let his foot off the gas for the entire race. So this has been one of the traits of Kirilov this season. He has found a very big sweet spot with this car. He's able to keep the car stable, keep it quick. So this will be his third win of the season if he keeps it all together. Slight knock up there. And looking at the tyres, they don't look in that bad a condition. He's only been on his tyres for about 15 minutes or so. 114.7. So 114.7. And Shepherd is coming up to lap Kokotsky, I believe that is, 114.7 behind. So has Shepherd now run out of tyres or settling for second place? Masaryk third behind, is still within 5 seconds or so. So Kokotsky, is he going to head to one side of the track? He is not. Kokotsky stays wide and unfortunately a bit too wide. He was a bit too generous. He tried to stay as wide as possible. Hopefully there's no damage to that car. I don't think he's in any risk of losing sixth place. That was a very difficult place to let someone by. As we see Masaryk just ahead, continuing on 114.7, so still putting in the fast lap times. Anything can happen in the last 13 minutes of this race. We've seen accidents late on which have changed the face of the race. I am keeping note of the championship points. So Kirillov will come away from this race with 25 points. Shepherd will come away with 18 points. Masaryk will come away with 15 points. Talbiti will come away with 12 points. And I believe Phil Brown will come away with 10 if it stays the same. Slight grass cutting on the outside of the turn. Talbiti understeering wide. Looking down the order, Kokotsky would come away with 8 points as it stands, and Pushko would come away with 6. But who's going to get that extra bonus point? I'm not actually sure it's going to matter in championship terms. And I did all that maths just to make sure that I covered all of the bonus points, because that may have actually switched the championship from one person to another depending on where they finished, but they are finishing in championship order. So if we go to helicopter cam, you can see how quick the circuit is. It's a very old school circuit. You'll see the amount of runoff there is. And you can see that some of the corners have been providing a little bit of entertainment for running wide and such. So down to the slowest part of the track. And you can get a good idea of how wide the track is as opposed to how wide the cars are. So plenty of room for these cars to do battle. And there's the very quick pit entry. And into turn 1. So just over 10 minutes to go. Is there going to be a sting in the tail for this final section of the race? So Shepherd still not giving up, putting in fastest lap time of 114.2. I think that's probably her fastest lap. Still going for that bonus point. Even further clear of Masaryk in third. It doesn't look like Masaryk is able to keep up the pace. 114.7. Unfortunately lost out in the pit strategy. That I believe he tried to undercut, but in the end it didn't quite work out. But there's something special about these older cars on these older circuits. I always feel like the older circuits have a bit more flow, a bit more rhythm to them. They're not kind of hampered by, you know, overly sanitised chicanes. Old school is the way to go. That's what we use sim racing for sometimes, to be able to go back in time. So I don't know if this is for position here. Looks like maybe Kokotsky and Pichler. That might be Pichler trying to get a lap back. I believe it is. Kokotsky unfortunately all on his own here, so he's just been unlapped by Pichler and about to be lapped by, I think that's Tony Taubiti behind. In fact it is. So Taubiti now dropped off the back of Masaryk in third. In about 20 seconds. So this course proving quite tough depending on setup options. Top four were very close in lap time, but I think mistakes have come into play. Looks like being able to keep the lap times consistent sometimes has led to mistakes. Kokotsky goes wide and lets Taubiti lap. So Taubiti in fourth. Masaryk still holding the station in third. 10 seconds now behind Shepherd in second. And it doesn't look like these cars do. I know that section is flat out. It doesn't look like they jump over that section. But I don't know if that is a visual disparity. But when we go on board, we hear no lift at all. So with 7 minutes to go, and they've completed 41 laps. So it's a very short lap around here. So hitting that curb on the inside. You don't want to do that too much. These are old school curbs, which means they are higher than normal. You generally don't run over the curbs unless you really have to. So this is the 67 version of the track. This part of the circuit is pretty much similar. I imagine they might have changed some of the profiles of the corners, but this section of the track, there is a chicane in this section. And then as you lead up to this section, there has been a chicane put into here. But the remainder of the track has remained pretty static. And as we come up to the final part of the track, the only bit that's changed in this part of the track is that the entry to the pit lane is actually the entry to this final section. So they go forwards basically. And I think the profile of that final chicane has been made tighter, so it's a slower entry. But it's a very neat circuit. I thought Kirillov was just about to run it wide. He's in no real danger, although the gap is now down to 5 seconds. 5 seconds with 5 minutes to go. Are we going to see a change in the lead? Now I'm going to do some maths here. So, this is where it gets interesting. If Shepherd, and I don't know if Shepherd has done this maths in her head, if Shepherd is able to pass Kirillov and get fastest lap, and I believe she has the fastest lap, then Kirillov and Shepherd will be equal on points. And I believe with countback rules, Shepherd would take the championship, so all is not over. So very interesting. The gap's now down to 4 seconds. So is Kirillov now letting off the gas a little? Lap time's dropped to 1:15. We might see Shepherd pop into distance, only just. But are we just going to run out of time with 4 minutes to go? It does depend whether there's going to be an extra lap. How well has Kirillov timed this? I think maybe 5 seconds is too much too close in the final stages. So the chase is on. Shepherd did drop her lap time up to the 1:15, so you can see that car ahead is not too far away. Coming through the final 2 turns, now just over 3 minutes to go. So are we going to do an extra lap? Kirillov just coming through turn 2 and 3. Up towards turn 4. See a JPS Lotus just stalking in the background. Is it about to kick off at the final stages? This is championship changing if this happens, but again, Shepherd could catch Kirillov, but not necessarily get past. We have seen a couple of people challenge for positions, but differing downforce levels have meant even staying in the draft is difficult. So the gap now down to 3 seconds at least. With just over 2 minutes to go. Shepherd comes over the line with exactly 2 minutes. We're going to have 2 laps to go. It does depend when Kirillov goes over the line. Now, I've been confused of this before. Sometimes the timing is a little off, and sometimes it says the race is over. So I think there will be a lap after this, so 2 laps to go. I think maybe Kirillov has done enough. It's still 4 seconds to... He has upped his lap times back to 14.5, so maybe the fight is over. So just over a minute to go. There will be 1 lap after this. You can probably see there's the JPS Lotus just coming into view. So through and over the line for what will be Kirillov's last lap. Into turn 1 for what would be the final time. Shepherd is probably tantalisingly close. Shepherd can see that McLaren slightly word pushing as hard as she can. I think she will get bonus point for fastest lap, but unfortunately with Kirillov taking the win, it puts it out of reach. Up the fastest part of the circuit. Kirillov has just gone over the top of the hill. And coming through what is the final section of the track. Up to the 3rd sector. I think he has judged it just about right. So Kirillov comes out what is the final section of the lap. It's so close, but yet so far. Again, I think Shepherd would be ruining that mistake at the start if she was perhaps closer to Kirillov at the start Phil Brown is being lapped, so he doesn't need to do another lap. Kirillov crosses the line and takes the Formula 79 championship. Consistency has been the key. 3 wins this season has meant that he takes the championship. Maddie Shepherd comes away with a second place and second place in the championship. Masaryk is third. And Salviti coming up the final corners of the lap will take fourth. And I believe he stays in 5th place in the championship. Brown has already come over the line. He's been lapped. Pichler is the last car on track, I believe. Taking a little excursion for the fans. So Kokotsky, I believe, has already gone over the line for 5th. And Pichler about to come over the line for 6th place. So what a season this has been. What a season this has been. Across the line he goes. So, that is the Formula 79 season all over with. It went right down to the wire. All of those maths problems I did to try and work out what was going to happen. It all nearly kicked off right at the end. I thought we were about to finish off with a big showdown, but in fact, we finished where we started. But it got close. It got very, very close, and it wasn't. If it wasn't for a couple of mistakes from some of the drivers, I'm hoping that the result doesn't have to go to the stewards' room at all. And I think a couple of people had to take drive-throughs for certain offences or certain maybe jump start penalties. It's very difficult to see in Assetto Corsa, but this has been the Formula 79 Championship. As I said, we've got coming up the last round of the Enduro Racers P2 and GTE Championship, so that will be broadcast on June the 15th. And if I just check the time for you, normally it comes on around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Let's have a look. So it will be Suzuka. So P2s and GTEs at that point in time. And in fact it is. So broadcast probably starts just before 8 o'clock UK time. So that's GMT plus 1. And I believe in fact it was actually Kirillov that got the bonus point for fastest lap, but not by much. Not by much at all. 1:14.1. So showing his dominance. That's actually the first time he has been able to get fastest lap this entire season. So did it when it mattered. Did it when it mattered. So thank you for joining us, everybody. It's been good broadcasting this season. It's been a challenge with Assetto Corsa, but we've managed to make it work. So as I say, on this channel, stay tuned for June the 15th with some endurance broadcasting with P2s and GTEs. But head to simracingonline.co.uk and join us and take part. Be on broadcast. Race with us. The more the merrier. We do a mixture of modern and historic, and join us. The more races we have, the better, and there will be a wide variety of sims. So yeah. So from me, your host Neil Wood. I always forget to introduce myself. This has been the Formula 79 Championship, and we'll see you at the next one.